Today we'll be taking a look at some of the dungeon content from Blue Protocol's recent closed beta. Now, this video might be a bit lengthy because I have a ton of dungeon footage and some of the storyline cinematics are pretty drawn out, so get comfortable because, it's going to be a while. We'll be taking a look at my first time in certain dungeons, time attack dungeons, solo play, speed runs, and just a montage of it all. Some full runs will be shown with some partial runs mixed in just because I don't want this video to get too dull. And I ran some of these multiple times. And before we get into the gameplay with commentary, I do want to share my thoughts on the dungeons this time around. In the previous alpha, I only experienced 2 dungeons, one of which is no longer in the game, or will be used for maybe later content. All I know is that the insect fortress was not available this time around, but some of the enemies were reused, so it's possible they could have removed it completely or are making changes to it. If you'd like to see that dungeon, you can find that in the previous dungeon video I made, which will be linked below. But the difference between my experience from alpha and beta is obviously more dungeons and more types of dungeons with the time attack mode, but this time around the content felt more challenging. The addition of modes made the experience more entertaining, and some of the dungeons didn't feel as linear as before. In alpha, I felt like the space was a bit too tight for so many people and effects. Either I got used to it, or there really is more space this time around and it feels better for a bigger party. And switching classes to the Aegis Fighter also gave me a much better experience. I'm not usually a fan of shields, but I enjoyed playing this class, especially being able to block and parry enemies. Now with that being said, let's take a look.
さて、この奥じゃな。手強い相手がおるやもしれぬが、恐れることはない。共に名を上げようぞ。
Alright, so this is your first dungeon, and as you can see I am level 3, so this is pretty early on in the game. And I think right here I'm just playing like shit because I'm just practicing my blocking, trying to see how many hits I can take, how much damage does it mitigate, if any, or does it completely block, and just getting a feel for this class. But I think we should spice it up, so let's skip ahead a few levels and switch to party play. And right now I'm playing with my 2 friends that I played with for the majority of this beta, and this is the second area. Couldn't see it, or at least I don't think you really could because of my camera angle, but there were archers on top of those platforms. And here we're looting, but as you can see this area is just a bit small, so this is what I meant by linear, like really tight space dungeons, which I'm not really a fan of, but that's a buff you can pick up. So there are buffs in these dungeons, usually like 3 or more maybe. Health buff, attack buff, so right there we just grabbed an attack buff, and I think that's pretty cool. That is something new that was added in this beta. So right here, I just scaled that like a boss, but doing this dungeon I think 1 or 2 times before, I got stuck right here. I was like, where the hell do I go before I climb those rocks, because I did not know there were rocks to climb. So I was running back and forth throughout the dungeon looking for the next area, and eventually I was like, oh, you have to click a button to scale the wall. But yeah, this is a very basic dungeon. It's just a few areas, goblins, 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 a few elite goblins, and I think there's just a boss, maybe an ogre. Yeah, I was right. It's an ogre. For a first dungeon, I think this was okay. Nothing too special, but look, we're level 3, level 5. Okay, so now I want to show you guys my time in the Dragon Claw Valley dungeon. This is actually a dungeon we went through in the alpha, but this time around things were a bit different. I believe the dungeon is the exact same. It's possible they sprinkled a few more enemies or new enemies here and there, but from a glance it looks the same. However, this time there's a cutscene because part of the story takes place here, and this time I got my ass whooped. So I want to show some of the party play that I did in this dungeon around level 21. We decided to take this party on with just the 3 of us, and you're going to see us wipe, I believe, twice. And then we queue up for it again in a party of 6, and we beat the dungeon. At the time, this dungeon only required a gear score of 14, but doing this with 3 people was definitely more difficult than a full party.
お前すげえな。俺が見込んだだけのことはあるぜ。しかし悪い、情報よりも強かったな。これは下見をしなかった俺の落ち度だ。どうしたジョーちゃん、顔色が悪いぜ。
まさかとは思ったが、こやつはアバリティアじゃ。
冗談きついな。アバリティアってのは冒険譚に出てくる怪物だろ。あれだよな、神に背いた罪を負いながら時空を超越して生き続けてるっていう。
あの強さじゃアバリティアに相違あるまい。
そいつをお前は倒しちまったのか。一体何者だ。これじゃ俺が教えることもすぐになくなっちまうな。まったく頼もしい後輩で嬉しいぜ。ともあれ俺は先に帰らせてもらう。アバリティアが奴一匹ならいいが、もし他にも現れるようなら町へ注意を促さねえとな。じゃあな。後で開拓局に来てくれ。報酬はきっちり払うぜ。
あれはどういうことなんだ。
どうした？びっくりしたのじゃ。なんじゃ貴様は今空から飛んでこなかったか？
君はライジャなのか？
ライジャ？なんぞそれ。
この揺らぎはライジャの。いやでも
あなたは何か知っているの？
それにしては決断を下すのはまだ早いか。
おいこりゃ、お主何者なんじゃ。さっきからわけのわからんことをつぶやきよって。
そうだね、名前くらいは教えておこう。この先長い付き合いになるかもしれないしね。僕の名はメルローフ、ただの放浪者さ。それじゃ。
しかし妙なやつじゃったな。よいか、ああいう輩に絡まれても無視を決め込むんだぞ。少々親切にされたからといって気を許してみろ。つけ込まれるに違いないわい。なんじゃ、わしをじっと見て。それよりあやつライジャとか言うておったな。ライジャなんか聞いたことあるような。ダメじゃ、思い出せん。とにかくあれじゃ、忘れんうちにジェイクに報酬をもらわねば。行くぞ。
But what is different about this dungeon this time that I'm going to show you guys is there are time attack versions of dungeons, and to my surprise, the time attack dungeons are completely remodeled from what it looks like. Yeah, it's the same theme, it's, you know, kind of the same dungeon, same mobs and enemies, but they remodel the dungeon, and I think that's super cool. And then also, new to me, which I don't think was in the alpha, is that at least for this dungeon, there's an open world or open area version of it. So where the dungeon is, you can actually walk into that area, and it's like you're in an open field version of this dungeon. Alright, switching gears and toning it down a bit. This is the Pillar Dungeon. I think that's the name of it. This is pretty much the main dungeon of the closed beta. The one that's in the sky, the one that plays a major role in the story.
さすがに雰囲気があるな。さて、こういうのは頂上に宝があるのが定番じゃ。一気に行くぞ。
Okay, so when I started this dungeon, I was going to go in solo, but I saw some player waiting outside of it, so I invited them to a party. And yeah, as you can see, I went to the right, so already I'm going the wrong way because this dungeon doesn't really give you any sort of direction in the beginning, which I think is kind of cool. You can get lost. Trying to find where to go, but also just looking around. What's in the center? Are there different pathways you can take? Is this a teleporter? I didn't know. And I still don't know what the hell that is. Now switching to the 6-player gameplay that I did, I've ran this dungeon countless times, and 90% of those runs you get put with a party that's done it, 20 times as well. So what most people do is they just speed run the dungeon because you need materials from this dungeon in completion to craft certain weapons. So sometimes you need to beat it like 5 times, and who wants to just kill all these mobs one by one if the option is there for you to just run past everything. I mean, sure, it's not as fun, I guess, but another way of thinking is that it's not as tedious. I don't really know how I feel being able to speed run a dungeon. I hope that's not a thing for every single dungeon, but at the same time, when it becomes grindy and repetitive and you have to just keep repeating a dungeon over and over, then yeah, don't really mind it too much. So in this footage right here, you're seeing us just run past everything. The only mobs you have to kill are like the elite mobs, the little mini bosses, these Magitech insects, and once you kill them, it'll say like battle complete and you can move on to the next area. So I'll be going back and forth between footage here just so you can see the dungeon at a slower pace, but then you can also see what it's like when there's a clusterfuck of people using a ton of effects at once.
あれはなんじゃ。どうやら封印されているようじゃが。なんじゃ。わし何も触っておらぬぞ。今の逃げて。助けるつもりか。相手はアマリティアぞ。見殺しにするわけにはいかない。このお人よしめ。
And you're about to see the long cutscene. So if you don't care about this, if you don't care about the story, or because you can't understand it, then I suggest you move to this time of the video. But if you want to watch this, then grab something to eat or just sit your ass down because this is about to take a while.
どうにか倒したか。まったく肝が冷えたぞ。助けておいてなんじゃが、気をつけろ下僕。あやつら怪しいぞ。通常の空間転送とは違う現れ方をしておったし、なんだか雰囲気も。
助けてもらったことには感謝いたします。しかしすぐにこの場から去っていただきたい。
何？
これ以上は言いません。去りなさい。従わないのであれば。
ティリス、この方は私たちのために命を懸けてくださったのですよ。
ですが、
これはまさかそんな。竜王ボルディゲン、なんじゃと。あれが竜族の王。なんたるいいやつか。見ているだけで押しつぶされそうじゃ。
程度の力のしかならんか。
アマリティア食った
来た。
いけません。エーリンデ様、お逃げください。でも
お前たちいつの間に戻ったのだ。竜族貴様、どこから。
やめて。
食らう価値は。
ダメです。逃げてください。あなたには関係ない。 一度助けたし、ここで逃げるわけにはいかない。
今のを見てなお立ちはだかるか。良いな、実に良い。さて、今度の虫はゆっくり殺そうか。まずは足、次に手、そして頭を。
ティリス、アリシアの子か。
状態で飛ぶつもりか。
あなたも早く。
なかなかに無茶なことをしてくれる。いずれ来るその時までせいぜい逃げ回るがいい。
ボルディゲンがいない？これは
どうにか難を逃れたようですね。エーリンゼ様、的確なご判断でした。ですが、お体の方は大丈夫ですか？あの状態の装置を起動させるのは。
大丈夫です。遡ったのは数時間ですもの。クロノグラムの消費も最小限に抑えられましたわ。おい、お主らは一体何者じゃ。なぜ倒したはずのアーバリティアがいる。そしてなぜ竜王に狙われておる。一体今わしらに何が起きているというのじゃ。
先ほども言いかけましたが、私たちのことは話せないので。
いえ、ここまで巻き込んでしまった以上、知らぬ存ぜぬというわけにもいかないでしょう。わずかとはいえ時空干渉の可能性があります。歴史が変えられてからでは遅いでしょう。失礼いたしました。改めまして、私の名はエーリンゼ。こちらは私の従者でティリスと申します。先ほど起こった出来事、いえ、私が起こした出来事はクロノリープです。クロノリープ？はい、あなた方が体験したのは時間を飛び越える行為なのです。とっさのことでしたので、数時間ほど遡るのが限界でしたが。時を飛ぶ技術じゃと。信じがたいのはわかりますわ。けれど、
ひとまずこの場から離れましょう。じきにボルディゲンがやってきます。
そうですわね。立ち話もなんですし、とりあえず外に出ませんか？そうすればきっと私の言っていることが真実だと実感していただけるはずです。今いるこの時間が先ほどよりも過去に位置するのだと。
いけません、隠れて。
なんじゃ。わしと下僕がおったな。
我々は過去に飛びました。だからあれは数時間前のあなた方自身なのです。
見柱に防衛設備があるのも納得じゃ。あんな装置をホイホイ使われたらたまらんじゃろうて。待てよ、見柱に降り立った階層。ライジャとはもしや。ライジャですか。ああ、 確か私たちのようにクロノリープしたものを昔の人々はそう呼んだと聞いていますわ。ではお主は
エリンゼ様、
大丈夫、平気ですわテリス。
すみません。この辺りに休める場所はありませんか？
それならこの近くにラルパルという集落がある。そこで休むがよい。わしらも行くぞ。こやつらにはまだまだ聞かねばならんことがありそうじゃしな。
And for the last part of this video, we're going to be taking a look at what I believe is another time attack dungeon. And this one required you to have a gear score of 25. And as you can see right now, I'm level 30, so I was quite progressed in the game when I did this dungeon. I think I did this on the last day, like in the last couple of hours. And you can also see that I'm behind from the group because I was checking my skill page. But they've decided to run past every enemy. I guess to group them all up in one room. But then again, it doesn't look like that's what the plan was. Yeah, we're already at the boss, and I think it's going to die pretty fast. And you can also see that this is one of those mechanical insects that you saw in the last dungeon, which was also an enemy in the insect fortress from the alpha. But this one has some plant growth on it, so, you know, it's got a backstory. That, or it's just a reused asset with a twist. I know my performance was shit in this dungeon, but hey, at least you got to see a new dungeon. One that was done in like 2 minutes. But yeah, that is a look at the dungeons from Blue Protocol's closed beta. And overall, I think it was pretty fun. I enjoyed the dungeons, I enjoyed the design. The ones that you beat in 2 minutes felt kind of pointless, but when it was a challenge, when you did it with a party or with friends, it was pretty damn fun. But most of the later stuff that I did, it was just with parties that would speedrun, but I believe there was 1 or 2 dungeons that I didn't run because I didn't meet the gear score requirement. And to do that would have taken another few hours, but the beta was ending, so didn't make it that far. I don't know if they were different dungeons or if they were just dungeons at harder difficulties, but yeah, that's it. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you want to watch any more Blue Protocol content, I do have a playlist which will be linked down below. And if you want to see my overall impressions where I talk about the dungeons and every single feature and mechanic of the game that I can think of, I do have a first impressions video. But I believe this will be my last Blue Protocol video for a while, maybe even until the next beta, unless we get some news that's worthy of talking about. So with that being said, thank you all for watching my Blue Protocol videos, and I will catch you all in the next video. See you soon, friends.